Yeah, it's very, very good Texas Tech team coming in. Obviously, Grant does a terrific job. I think they're coming off a excuse me, and a sensational season last year, and they've obviously done a nice job in the portal rebuilding, and then they've got two of the premier players in college basketball back in Anderson and Toppin. So, it's one of those games that I'm very, very excited for our fans. We try to make sure that we can play a very, very quality opponent here in our building every year. We'll return the game next year, and you've got a top 10 team that is obviously vying for a Final Four appearance as we are. So should be a great battle. They've had some of the same issues we've had with some injuries and guys missing practice. We had Andre in practice. He survived the other night and was in a good spot. Tommy's obviously out. Brandon's still out. Mihailo is on his work back in a couple days of partial work in practice, and then obviously Ty. So our injury update is progressing, but again, it's still not where we're anywhere close to full strength. So that side of it, we'll just play with the guys we've got and know we've got to compete. And again, a team that is very, very good on both sides of the ball and worthy of their top 20, wherever, top 15 ranking, and top 10, whatever they're at, whatever poll you look at. So we're going to have to play well. It'll be a great, great challenge for us.
But just for clarity on Mihailo, are you not expecting him to be available?
He'll probably be in a uniform. We'll see how it reacts again today, just doing a little bit of up and down stuff for the first time. But I'm not expecting him to be anywhere. He's been in 7 practices, so or 31, or 32. So there's a progression to getting that back.
I guess Texas Tech's the first of 3 kind of high-profile games you'll have this month alone. Just what do you feel like this, especially in week 2, does for your team?
Well, I think we want to be the best. So you got to play some of the best teams in the country to do that, and I think we've got a nice stretch coming up here where you've got some high level opponents, teams competing for national championships and Final Fours, and you want to find out where you're at, and you mix in. We've got 2 league games, not too far down the road here as well. So. There's a mental component. There's a physical component. There's a reason we scrimmage Florida. You just need to see where you're at, and you need to see what it looks like. And we get that opportunity with a team that is very capable. So not just this one, but you get on down the road, and again, we're seeing different styles, different tempos, different teams with different levels of size and not size, and it's what prepares you. So I enjoy scheduling like that. I enjoy playing in these games, and I think our players do too, and as well as our fans.
Coach, you've been leaning pretty hard on a couple of freshmen, Keaton Wagler and David Mirkovich. How do you prepare them mentally for a matchup like this, and how important is the senior leadership from Kyle and the others?
Yeah, if we hadn't had the Florida scrimmage, I would probably have a little different, mindset towards this one. But we had that one, and so we experienced what that looked like with a toughness and a physicality, and it didn't catch them off guard. I thought the one thing in the Florida Gulf Coast game was, they played with an edge, and they played with a really competitive spirit, which Pat's teams do, and that's what you try to get your team to understand and wrap its head around. But had we not had that Florida one, it might be a little different approach. But we've seen those guys perform in that caliber of game, and then obviously it's you have to go out and execute and do your job and make the adjustments that they'll throw at us and do that. But they've been able to handle all of that so far.
You guys have a combination of home and home, neutral site, semi-neutral sites. What do you like about the home and homes, and do you hope to get more of those, or do you like blending all three of those concepts?
I love home and homes. I think that's great for college basketball. I love venues. I love the venues that college basketball presents when it's the true home court advantage and road environment. And I think there's a toughness and a grittiness and that you have to go do all of that. And it's becoming. I don't want to say harder, but I would play another one, home and home series if we could. There's just so many opportunities now with neutral site games that become kind of made for TV deals and things like that you play in those. But I'm going to play in every year. I hope to play in a high quality, top 10 opponent here, and we'll obviously return when we have to do that.
You talked about it after Gulf Coast, but is there something defensively that Z kind of gives this team, and specifically the other four guys, that maybe Tommy doesn't give, even though they're twins?
Yeah, I mean, they're different defenders. Z's, Z's just, he's had that length. He's taller. He's 7'2". He's longer. He's a little twitchier. And I say that in a good way. His, Tommy's much more physical in terms of is 260 pounds, and he's a great position defender. Still has that length, but it's just a different look that they give us, which is nice, and it'll be nice when we get both of them to suit up and play. But Z's got an uncanny quickness and timing, block shots, and the ability to change and alter shots, and so it's definitely different. So it's nice for us to be able to have a change of pace.
Yes, since you mentioned home and homes are getting maybe a little tougher to schedule, did you have a connection with Grant that got this one on the books? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I think we were both looking. I've known Grant for a long time. Obviously, he's come up through the ranks, very similar to the way I did it. Was a junior college coach. He's been very, very successful at the lower levels, and has earned the right and obviously done a fantastic job. He's he was with Scott at Baylor, and Scott and I are very, very close and have a long history together. So know of him through the business, and he's just done a phenomenal job wherever he's been, and found ways to win games.
A lot of offseason talk about Coach Crocker retooling the defense. What does that look like on the court, through the first two games?
I think we've been really good at times and not so good at times. I say that, and I don't think it's been awful. I think it's been inconsistent. I think we've, I thought we were very good in the first half the other night. I thought it was, I thought we had a physicality about us. I thought we had a grittiness, and it's funny because it was such a weird stat game because they had one turnover, and yet you look at the 7 blocks, you look at our points in transition, all really good numbers and finding easier opportunities. So, I think we're still growing. I think we'll find out a little more on Tuesday. But I think when you get challenged, like we're going to get challenged, it's a little different mentality when you're up big at half or get a big lead. But I would love to see us be a little more consistent. But we're doing a lot of things, pretty well, and our communication continues to grow, and playing with a lot of length compared to what we've had in the past has been pretty positive.
What did you think of the combo of Z and David without Tommy the other night, and how that can play for you moving forward?
Yeah, I thought it was great, and I like the fact that they play well off each other. On the offensive side, they're both very different in the way they play. You've got a physical piece, and you've got a little 200. I say thinner. Z's 240 pounds, but 245 pounds. But you get a little thinner, more athletic guy, and then a guy that's a little more physical. Out there together. I thought their rebounding stunk on the offensive side of it. I didn't think it was very good, so we've got to get that better. That's where we missed Tommy, although he wasn't very good in his one game. But I think we're still finding our way, but I thought it was fine, and continue to grow as Tommy comes back and as those guys continue to play together.
I guess maybe beyond getting to see where your team is against the top 10 opponent, what, like, big picture, what can having a top 10 team here in this building for a ranked matchup kind of do just for your program?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's what you want to build your program, and you want to play in these games. You want to play the best, and you want to play in the best environments. And I think it's the piece that we've tried to do here consistently in the last few years is playing marquee games against marquee programs and in the best conferences. And this one just happens to be in our building, and it's a great opportunity to highlight our fans, the Orange Crush, the ability to sell out your student section in 18 minutes and have sellouts every night. And create a great memory for students and fans, and hopefully all of our fans get to enjoy seeing quality opponents and quality basketball. And they've got pros, guys will watch at the next level, and that's always pretty exciting when it's a different name than you see throughout the Big Ten season.
Does Kylan have to be kind of an Iron Man a little bit until you get Mihajlo back? And how do you feel about the one position against a matchup like Texas Tech when he does have to get a breather?
I mean, Keaton's pretty good. I don't think he's struggled much. I think Keaton would be playing these minutes no matter who he had, healthy or not. I mean, Keaton's a really good player. He's going to be on the floor a lot, and he's one of the best conditioned guys in the country. Strong, been in college 4 years, so he's been in that weight room. He knows what conditioning is. He's smart. Keaton's been almost unflappable in terms of not turning it over and good decisions, and so that's a position I feel either one of those guys can be very, very comfortable in. It reminds me a little bit of having Io and Trent. They're just different. They're different types of guards, but they're very compatible together.
What are you looking for defensively to limit players like Toppin and Anderson tomorrow?
Prayer. You understand that when you face really good talent, they're going to make some baskets, and you don't want to give them the easy stuff. You want to make it hard. You want to make it stressed. You understand that they're capable of having big nights, but you don't want to do it because you're making mistakes. You want to have them earn it. So they're high-frequency guys. They're going to be in a lot of action together. And it's a, I compared a little bit to Braden and Kaufman Wren. They're gonna be in a lot of actions together. So you've got to understand that they're gonna score some points, and you've just got to make them very hard and not give them the gifts that you want to try and avoid.
With the defensive consistency, I'm assuming you kind of expected a little bit of that as you were wrinkling in new stuff. So what does growth look like in ironing out some of that consistency?
40 minutes. I think we a lot of it's mental. And again, I'm really looking forward to the challenge of Tech, because they're going to challenge us on that end, and to see when you're not up large, like we have been in the first few, and you have to fight, and you have to understand the moment. You have to get a stop, and does your communication stop because you're tired? Does it? Those are the things we have to play through. Does your physicality stop because you're 32 minutes in instead of at the start? All those little things like that. Do your blockouts happen? All those things are what we've got to continue to grow and get good at if we want to be and go where we think we can go. Thank you.